Good day, and thank you for joining. This is Jason with LMGI. We're going to continue with the Solid Edge Fundamentals training. We're modeling some of the practice projects, additional modeling projects you'll find at the end of the Fundamentals book. So this little part is the second one. It's a pretty simple part, so we're going to take a different approach to the modeling. Switch back to my Solid Edge. I'm going to try a vintage dark background and see how that looks on YouTube. I'm going to utilize the simple box command with the symmetric option set by center, lock to my plane. I look at the drawing and I see this part is roughly 5 inches, so I'm just going to eyeball it. You want to get it kind of close. And the overall length is roughly 5 inches as well, so I'll just kind of eyeball that. So then there's a hole and there's a circular cutout. Maybe we'll do the hole first. You probably could use a cylinder for that. Just notice the symmetry is still engaged. Maybe I'll use my quick pick, wait for the ... and pick that center base plane to be locked to. And the through hole, again, I'm just going to eyeball it and tap my space bar to make that do a cutout. For the other kind of like a belly, I guess you might call it, I'm going to do a circle. This is a pretty cool capability that Solid Edge has. Utilizing open profiles. First I'll just draw a sketch a little bit bigger than the hole, and then we'll go to the extrude command and I'm going to pick single. You get a little different capabilities with different selection options. I do want it to do a cut, I wanted to do symmetric, and I want to be able to change the side step. And if you just poke this, you'll see it will toggle. So there it's doing a cut on the interior, and if I poke this button, it's cutting the exterior. So there I can have it cut to the outside. And you normally might think you would, your first thought might be to do a revolved cut or something more complex, and that's not really necessary. Let's bring this part. If you have your drawing handy, you'll see that it's kind of half of a part, so we want to split it. I'm going to tap S on the keyboard to turn off the symmetry and key right off the center point. So I basically cut that part in half. Use my radial menu and pull it around on these corners. Notice I'm not really being too concerned with the exact values. This is an example of how you might work in your ideation phase. You're not quite sure what you want to have. You just kind of want to get something roughed out to see if that looks like what you would want. So I might get to this point and be pretty happy. I'm going to use my F3 this time to get locked. And I'll just poke some holes here. And I've set my extent to go through all. So you might get to a certain point and say, yeah, this is good. I like this design. I'm going to move ahead with it. So now you can tweak it with dimensions. So let's add a dimension for the thickness. And this one, I don't want it to move around, so I'm going to lock it at 7/16. Which is 437. I'm going to undo that just so you can see what I did wrong. When I adjust this, I want my symmetric back on. I'm going to tap S, and then probably want it to change on the interior side. So that's changing symmetrically because I built it on center. And I'll place another dimension. I could click the inside edges, or whatever technique you like, and actually that should be the outside edges. I think we already have a dimension for that, and if we just tap the outside face, we probably see that there's already a dimension there for 3.75. And my red locked dimension is maintaining my flange thickness for me. Even though the offset may pick that up as a plate, offset maintains what looks like kind of a plate, is the best way to describe it. That looks pretty good. I think we need, actually let's see what other PMI dimensions. See if there's one on the top. When you touch a face, if there is an existing PMI dimension somewhere attached to that face, you'll get that offered to you. So this should be, you know, the drawing is actually not to the outside of the flange. The drawing is to the hole. So let's do that. If you really were working off a sketch or something, you don't really know that. I misclicked. A little bit of a lag when you're recording. The dimension is 2 inches from this face to the hole, so why not just drive the model that way? And you see that the software is maintaining existing conditions, so it's in essence maintaining your design intent by examining what's currently in the model. And I think the width, there's probably a dimension hung off that, and that should be, again, the dimension is to the holes, so we could probably do a smart dimension to the holes. And that is 3 inches. Again, the design intent system is maintaining that for me. The through hole is 1.25 inches radius. That's pretty big. And then this outside is 1/687. And the holes are 7/8. So when you touch a hole, you have the little edit definition handle, looks like a leader. Make those 7/8 holes, and they are on center to a radius of 0.75. Again, touch one of the rounds and then the edit definition handle. Now, because we placed these all at the same time, it's picking those up. It looks like those are already correct. No, 0.75. They are not correct. Here we go. That looks pretty good. And this, I should have locked that dimension at 2 inches if I was concerned about that moving. And there you go. So this should be 3, and we'll lock that so it doesn't ever change inadvertently like it just did. And that looks pretty good. Maybe we'll just set the material. Hide the PMIs, fit the view, and save the file. Very good. So there's the second model, in the additional modeling projects in the Solid Edge Fundamentals course.